What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Overwatch commentary. Actually going to be talking about the Overwatch 2 beta, which came out last week. Kind of wanted to discuss my thoughts so far on the beta and where I see it taking this franchise. And in this video, I'm going to be duo queuing with one of my buddies who's actually basically a GM top 500 player. So I wanted to get his thoughts as we played through the beta. I put probably about 20 hours into it so far. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on it, enough to make some judgments on how Overwatch is going to go forward as a franchise. And, you know, I think I've seen a lot of the interest already drop off for the beta. It was super hyped the first couple days. There was millions of people watching on Twitch, and then it just sort of dropped off where Overwatch is kind of back down to around 20k viewers on Twitch. People have kind of already got tired of it, I think. Which is not a good sign, because Overwatch League actually does start this Thursday, and Overwatch League is going to be on Overwatch 2 despite the game not being fully in the players' hands yet, in terms of the community and the people that still play this game. So quick background on myself, if you haven't watched any of my content before. I've been playing Overwatch basically since it came out. Season 2 of competitive is when I first started playing this game. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I absolutely fell in love with the game because of the design, because of the characters, and because of the fact that it was not Battlefield or Call of Duty or Fortnite or any of those other shooters. It had a really interesting feel to it with the more objective style gameplay with the tanks and the supports and the DPS. And it's been one of my favorite games that I've ever played. You guys may have seen in some other videos. I have Overwatch statues. I've got a giant Mercy canvas over my television on my gaming setup with my consoles. I've got an Overwatch mouse pad, coffee cups, you name it, t-shirts. I really love this franchise. And also, obviously, with the Atlanta Reign being an Overwatch League team, that's really exciting too. Overwatch League has been one of my favorite things about this game as well, at least for the first couple of years it was out. Then it got kind of stagnant, if I'm being honest. But Overwatch has been in a bit of a bad spot for the last 2 years or so. Blizzard really dropped the ball with this game, and I still am under the speculation that this all goes back to the problems they got into with the whole China and Taiwan situation a couple of years ago. You guys might remember they had a little bit of drama going on with that, and they were going to have big-time boycotts and all kinds of stuff going on at BlizzCon, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just announced that Overwatch 2 is coming out. Really, they had no plan around it. There was no, hype built up before the announcement. It was just, they just kind of dropped it on us like, oh, we're doing Overwatch 2. And at the time, it was still going to be a 6v6 game. They were basically just going to change up the way the PvP worked. They were going to update some things. Eventually, they came out and said they're going to do some PvE content as well, which, if I'm being completely honest, I don't care at all about the PvE content in this game. I play this because it's the one PvP game that I still really enjoy. If I want to play a PvE game, I'll go play Final Fantasy, I'll go play a single-player game, I'll go play Destiny 2. I just really don't care much about PvE in Overwatch in general, though I do know there are a lot of people that enjoy that, and I don't want to discount their experience at all, so we'll talk about the PvE a little bit as we get further into this. But, I think it was kind of rushed, and then all of a sudden, it was like they realized they didn't have anything with the game, so they had to rush something out, start working on it, and for the last two and a half years, I mean, we have literally gotten no content for the first Overwatch game. And it's basically led to a complete downturn with the community. The games have become really awful to play, even in competitive now. It's so crazy because I play my main account, which I've been playing on for 5+ years. Everybody in the lobbies are bronze border brand new accounts, and I know there's not that many new people buying this game or getting into this franchise. So it's pretty clear that they're all Smurf accounts for the most part. You're seeing a ton of high-level players who just have gotten tired of the grind, who have just decided, you know what, I'm going to start a new account, I'm going to throw my placements, I'm going to go down into the low ranks, and I'm just going to pub stomp because it makes me feel good about myself. We're seeing that more and more in the game. There's also a lot of cheaters in competitive. We've seen lots of aimbots and things like that, wall hacks. Actually, that's already been a problem in the beta. We ran into a couple of Hanzos and a couple of Widowmakers who were very obviously cheating. There was a video posted on Reddit the other day of a Soldier 76 who was very clearly aimbotting in the game. And there's there's been a lot of bad stuff like that going on with Overwatch 2 and Overwatch in general and the community, and it's really sad that people already have to cheat in the beta, which is another reason I don't really think Overwatch 2 is going to do much to change the overall landscape of the franchise, unfortunately. Now let's talk about the beta experience a little bit, and just to give you guys a little bit more background on myself, I am a peak diamond main on support. I play tank and DPS, usually mid to high plat, so I'm not an amazing player, but I'm not, I guess I would say I'm not terrible either. I guess plat is pretty much run-of-the-mill average now in this game. Diamond is kind of in the top 10%, but still not quite up at the master or GM level. So I think I have a good area of expertise to kind of give some feedback on this. And the first thing I do want to say is there is way too much elitism in the Overwatch community to begin with. There's a lot of master and GM players who basically say no one should have an opinion on the beta except for them, because the casual players and those of the low ranks really don't know how to play the game. They don't know how to handle the new changes, especially to the support class, and they really shouldn't have any type of opinion. They're all overreacting and they really don't know what they're talking about. I hate that attitude. I'm seeing it all over Reddit right now. And the one thing I will say is you have to take everybody's opinion into account with something like this, because Overwatch is already on its last legs as a franchise. And if you want to talk about 80 to 90% of your player base and tell them that their opinion and their gameplay experience is not valid, you're just going to kill the game off even faster. So if the devs aren't paying attention to what a lot of people are saying, it's going to be a problem. And if they only pay attention to what the top 1% elite players in the game say, it's going to create a problem. A lot of people have said they're just rushing this out to make sure that the Overwatch League, that their esports survives, which may be true. I don't know. It's coming out this week on Thursday. There's really zero hype about Overwatch League, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with the new 5v5, which is the biggest change they've made to the game, in my opinion. But I just want to get that out there right away. It's like we can't discount people's experience just because they don't play at a high rank or because they play the game casually. I just hate that attitude so much in games these days. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the beta. Obviously, the big change is they went to 5v5 from 6v6. They have completely eliminated the tank role. They've changed a lot about the game. They've removed a lot of the hard crowd control from the game. Only a few characters still have it. Doomfist can still stun you on his rocket punch. Anna has her sleep dart, but it's now on like a 16-second cooldown. But they took away freeze from Mei. They took away the stun off Brig's shield bash. So lots of crazy changes they made to the game. They've updated a couple of characters. Doomfist got moved to tank, and he's got a whole brand new kit. Arisa's got a brand new kit that is, in my opinion, extremely overtuned right now for the game. She is literally the best tank in the game. If you don't have her on your team, you're most likely going to lose the match. I'm guessing she's going to wind up getting played quite a bit in Overwatch League and at the pro level right now if she stays in the current setup that she's in. But they've just done all these different changes. They've brought Sojourn into the game. She's the new character who, if I'm being quite honest, is very underwhelming so far. There's really no point in playing her when you can just play Soldier 76, who is very overtuned as well right now. He is probably the best DPS character in the game at this point. And they're going to have to actually look at him, I would think, before they go forward with any more beta play with the game. So DPS have pretty much got their wish. Now there's only one tank. There's really no shields in the game besides Sigma and Reinhardt, who I haven't really seen played that much. It's mostly Arisa, who does not have a shield anymore. A lot of people are trying out Doomfist, seen a lot of Zarya being played. Ryan has been in a couple of games, and the games I've seen him in, he's actually seemed like he's pretty strong. He can play very aggressive now. But the DPS no longer have to deal with multiple shields and abilities to block damage, so they're able to pretty much have a field day. The DPS also did get a new passive ability that boosts their overall speed. When you combine that with Soldier 76's sprint ability, it makes him really hard to deal with. He's able to get into really good flanking positions, and with the way his damage is now and his ability to burst with the Helix rocket, he can get in your backline and kill both the supports before they even really know what's going on. So the DPS have definitely been given a step up in this game. The tanks, they've tried to make a little bit more creative and a little bit more fun to play. And like I said, eliminating one tank completely, I think they were trying to get it to where the queue times are going to be faster, but that really has not been the case from what I've seen. Even in the beta, we're seeing 8, 9, 10-minute queues. Unless you're playing support, because really no one wants to play support right now because it's pretty much felt like support is the worst role right now because they didn't really get any updates. They mainly got things taken away from them. They got abilities removed from their kits that allow them to fight back, so to speak. And again, from a lot of the elite players, we're seeing them basically just saying, you know, supports need to learn how to duel. They need to learn how to be more proactive in DPSing. And my whole thing is, well, that's great and all, but it's how are you going to duel a DPS when you have a much worse kit for doing damage? You know, it's not like you have a lot of those abilities in the game anymore. Obviously, if you're highly mechanical skilled, you can do pretty well. And there are also some ports that feel pretty good. I'm going to be honest, Moira, who's the character I play a lot in the main Overwatch, she feels really good in this game. You can be super aggressive with her. You can get away with it. I think she feels a little overtuned right now because I had games where I would literally just DPS the entire time and I was still putting up 13 to 14,000 heals, even really not trying to heal that much, just playing, you know, trying to play with her and see what I could get away with. She feels really strong. Lucio feels really strong right now. Brigitta feels pretty good if you're staying up with your tank and you're playing a brawl style with her. You can really have a lot of enjoyment out of that. And then you have Anna, Anna is a little bit hit or miss right now. She's incredibly strong because there aren't any shields now, so she can do damage from a distance. She can also get that anti-nade to hit a lot of enemies since there are no shields really to deter that. But she is really weak against dive. So if they're playing a Genji, if they have a Winston is an absolute terror now for supports. If he gets into your backline, it's going to be very difficult to deal with him because he's got 700 health now. He still does have his bubble, and he's basically able to do whatever he wants, and supports just basically get bursted down really quick. So Anna's she's 50-50. If you're very mechanically skilled on Anna, you can still play her and enjoy her. And get some aggressive plays, but as supports now, you really do have to make an adjustment and play much more aggressively, stay up with your team. If you're trying to stay back from the team like a lot of supports did in 6v6, you're probably going to get flanked and you're probably going to get picked off by the enemy DPS because they're able to move very quickly and get in behind you very quickly now. So support is definitely the most underwhelming role in the game at this point, basically because some games you just wind up playing Respawn Simulator because the DPS are constantly flanking. Your DPS are really not peeling. You no longer have the second tank now, where it would be maybe a diva that would come back and peel for you. So really, that's another reason Lucio's got a little bit more value to now, is he can kind of get up to the front and get back into the back to save one of his supports. Zenyatta felt okay. It's just the same thing with him. He does not have much mobility, so if he gets jumped, especially by Sombra, who's been changed and still has a really good kit, he's going to die really quickly. And I think that's why a lot of the support players are pretty much upset and underwhelmed by the game so far, is because it just does not feel good to play support in some games. Some games it feels really good, some games it feels terrible, especially if you're getting dove and they're playing certain tanks. It can just really feel awful. And that's basically, I think, one of my main problems with Overwatch 2 is it really hasn't solved any of the issues of the first game, which is relying on other people on the internet to actually provide you with a decent experience. There are games you're going to lose in the spawn now because certain characters are so overtuned. You know, if you don't have Orisa, like I said, I don't think we won a single game outside of a few here and there without an Orisa as our tank, because she's just so good right now that if you don't play her, you're basically putting your team at an advantage. If you don't run Soldier 76, you're going to put your team at a severe disadvantage. So there's a lot of balance problems they still have to figure out. That's been one of Blizzard's biggest issues since Overwatch came out, is balancing the game around the different heroes. They're still having issues with it even now, and I'm really going to be interested to see how this comes into play in Overwatch League, because I think they released this beta last week. Overwatch League is in a couple days. I think they're just going to put this patch, basically this state of the game, into Overwatch League and see what happens. I don't think they're, be interested to see if they made any changes from the beta before it goes into the Pro League. So there are certain DPS that are just crazy good right now, and obviously the tanks don't seem all, balanced in a way where they're all viable. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. But my gameplay experience so far is that I gotta be honest, I really didn't enjoy the beta. It was like fun for the first day or two, and I was like, well, really, it feels more like, I don't know, everyone's gonna say this is kind of cliche at this point, but it feels like Call of Duty Overwatch skin, or just deathmatch all the time. And I know it's just quick play, I get it. Right now a lot of people are just goofing around, and screwing off and doing whatever. The DPS are always like permanently flanking, which is why I do kind of want to see how this game is played at the pro level with the new 5v5. And I will give it a chance when it does come out, because the PvP is actually going to be free. So you don't have to buy anything or pay for the PvP. The PvE content they're going to eventually release, I believe you're going to have to pay for. But, you know, with it being free, you're at least able to give it a try and see if it's something you like. Maybe once the competitive mode is out, it will lead to a more stable experience. I highly doubt it will, but you never know. But Overwatch 1, as it stands right now, is going away completely whenever this comes out. There will no longer be any 6v6. It's going to be 5v5. There's going to be universal changes across the board, whether you're on console or you're on PC. So it's going to be pretty tough. You're only going to have a little bit of a limited time left here, a couple of months probably, maybe through 2023. I don't think this is actually going to be official till then. But I think you got a couple months to really enjoy Overwatch in its current state if you like the 6v6. Then it's going to go to the 5v5, obviously. And like I said, I was just very underwhelmed with the beta. I think there's just so many problems Overwatch already has, just from the neglect of the developers over the last 2 to 3 years. I think the community is not so receptive to see such a drastic change in 5v5. And I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, it's the same game, it plays the same. But I didn't get that feeling at all. When I went through the beta. And again, these are my opinions and my thoughts on it, and some of my friends as well. So, you know, I'm just giving that take there. I know everyone's going to have a different take on it, but I did not feel like I was playing regular Overwatch. The game is a lot more fast-paced now, and it just felt more like Call of Duty, more like a Battlefield, more like a shooter that I really don't want to play anymore. So that's unfortunate, and I think that they're going to wind up losing a lot of players if they go through with these 5v5 changes, because they've just made such a drastic change to the way the game plays, in my opinion. At least, like I said, from the limited experience of the beta. Obviously, we're going to see what happens when the PvP comes out. And like I said, I'm not a player interested at all in PvE. I could care less about that. I have other games to play for PvE. I play Overwatch because it's the only PvP shooter that I still enjoy. And they've kind of ruined that for me. So I was very underwhelmed. Not super happy with the beta so far. Like I said, I had fun for the first couple days, and then it just kind of got tiring after that, and it was very underwhelming. I've said that word a couple times. That's how I would actually describe it. Also, one thing I would like to add, Blizzard, like, shame on you for not allowing console players to experience the beta. It's so lazy to rush this out, and then also just keep your console players completely out of being able to play the beta. You have a pretty good sized population that plays the game on console, and you basically just told them, screw off. You guys don't get a chance to play it or experience it or give your opinion and your feedback. So it's pretty bad on their part. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the thing that really still keeps me on edge about Overwatch 2, the switching to the 5v5, the balancing of the heroes. This is Blizzard we're talking about at the end of the day, and I keep seeing people saying, this is only a beta, nobody seems to understand that it's just a beta. But the new norm these days with video games is when you have a beta, it's pretty much the final product that you're going to put into play. And that's why I said I think they're going to probably just keep this build in the Overwatch League next week. Because when you have a beta like this, nowadays most developers will put the beta in, and then that's it. It's just to test the servers, to test, you know, get a little bit of feedback maybe, see how the game works, see how the balance changes work. I don't think they're going to do too much between this and what's going to come out later, which is kind of scary that they've had 2.5, 3 years to supposedly be working on this. I don't know. It's Blizzard now, and the new Blizzard is not a company you really have faith in anymore. Obviously, they've had a lot of problems internally and a lot of issues going on, lawsuits, things like that. They're supposedly going to be acquired by Microsoft in 2023 if everything goes to plan. But I just really don't have any faith in this developer to balance this game and to make it an enjoyable experience. Now, if by the next beta they come out and say, hey, we're going to make some changes to some of the support class and give them a couple more abilities to make them a little more attractive and a little bit more enjoyable to play, then maybe we'll reconsider at that point. But as of right now, I just don't see them being able to do too much with this game. And I think this community has already had enough at this point, and to come in and make such drastic changes to the game, I think you're going to lose quite a bit of the community. And like I said, if Overwatch League doesn't come out and absolutely pop off this next week with this 5v5, and we see the pros like just have a good time with it and really enjoy it. I think this franchise is in a lot of trouble. And like I said, just a very underwhelming experience with the beta, and I don't think it bodes well for the future of the game. But obviously we're going to see what happens, and either way, Overwatch is going to be changed fundamentally, and it's never going to go back to what it was before unless the developer just decides, hey, we screwed up, we're going to keep it 6v6. And that was actually something my friend and I were talking about as we were playing the other night, was the visual changes. They've done some really cool stuff. The new maps look cool. The daytime maps look really cool. Supposedly there's going to be active weather in the game that's going to change at times, like rain and snow and stuff, but that's not in the beta as of right now. But they've done a really great job visually. The UI looks very clean. Some have speculated that they went to this cleaner looking UI because the game is going to come out on mobile at some point as well, but we don't really have any details on that. But the game looks good, and it feels really smooth. And my whole time that I was playing and that my buddy was playing, we kind of were talking about it with each other. It's like they could have just put these visual enhancements in this new UI and updated the hero looks and updated some of the kits and just done it in Overwatch. You know, why did you need to do a whole brand new game for this? It just doesn't seem like that was warranted. And you took 2-3 years to give us this when you could have actually been continually working on the original game and not losing all of your community to despair as you have over the last 2 years. And just overall probably created more hype and had a much better experience in place. So that was kind of our general thought after we had played through this for a couple of days, was they probably could have just done what they've done here with the original Overwatch, kept it 6v6. Figured out a way to make everybody happy instead of just catering fully. And again, this is my opinion. I feel like they just decided, you know, DPS have been crying for 5 years that they can't hard carry in this game, that they can't do Call of Duty and go kill 6 people by themselves. You know, it's not fair that supports can fight back. It's not fair that tanks can survive and they've got the shield. You know, I feel like they've just fully catered to the DPS, because DPS probably make up a good portion of the community. They're probably the most vocal, and their queue times were pretty bad. So now they've gotten everything they wanted. They can go into the back line and feast on the supports all day, and there's really not much they can do about it. But now what's going to happen is most of the supports are probably not going to play the game anymore, and the DPS are still going to wind up having long queues after the game has been out for a couple of months. So it should be interesting to see how that all works out. You know, in the long run. But I think we still have a long way to go before they actually do bring Overwatch 2 fully into the game. We'll probably have at least another beta or two to play from what Blizzard has said, so we'll see how that all goes. And I don't know if I'll continue to participate in it. I'll probably play this beta sparingly through the 17th of May, which is when it's going to be over with. But honestly, right now I'm just going to try to enjoy the original Overwatch as long as I can, because that's the game that I like to play. That's the gameplay experience that I enjoy, despite all the crap going on with the hackers and Smurfs and people ruining competitive play right now. It's just been really bad, but I'm going to do my best to play as much Overwatch as I can before they switch it over to this 5v5, because like I said, I really just don't enjoy it at all right now, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know if you played the beta and what your thoughts are on it so far. Obviously, like I said, most of the stuff in this is just my opinion as someone who's played this game basically since it came out, and I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there. Obviously, if you think differently, I'd love to hear your reasoning and hear what you thought about it, hear what you think about the different changes they've made to the game if you are going to play it. And let me know also if you're excited for Overwatch League coming out this week. Finally, it's been a long off season. Let me know what your favorite team is, who your favorite players are. You know, anything like that you want to talk about with the game, feel free to do so down below in the comments, and we can have a little bit of a discussion about it. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it. As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.